My name is Glen Reaume. I'm located in West Lorne, Ontario, Zone 6A. We are very, very humid and hot in the summertime. It can get cold in the winter, but mostly it's like that damp cold, so it's not like the chilly cold. But it's the springs are short and falls are short now. I got a greenhouse in 2019, and I wanted one since 2015. So I did a lot of research, and I was trying to find the best bang for the buck. You know, I looked at Palorine, I looked at different kinds of greenhouses until I came across Planta, and I just figured it was a good value. It was built solid. I seen these 12 guys sitting on the roof in the middle of a winter storm, and it impressed me, right? That you know, the structure was built that solid. With the insulation, you know, you're keeping the cold out, right? With the heating up of the polycarb, you know, you're giving that warmth that the plants need in order to continue to keep growing, right? The greenhouse itself is spacious. So like, you know, I have 10 feet by 20 feet, even though my aisleways are a little tight. When everything that I grow goes in to my beds, it's basically all compost. So what I do is with compost, you have more water retention, and then I make sure that I mulch. So, and I use mostly all free materials, so leaves, stuff like that, and I put a thick layer of mulch on to keep that ground cool and not exposed so it doesn't dry out. Close to our area here in Dutton, last year they had a tornado, and it ripped off the roof of the community center there. So we had close to 70 mile an hour winds. So that's pretty extreme. That's over 100 kilometers. So about 110 kilometers or so. And no problem. Snow, we've had a few freak snowstorms that came in, and you know, you could see it gathering up on top of the roof. But by the next morning, it was all sledding down. Since I got the greenhouse in 2019, I've been experimenting with going all year round and all year growing. So the real estate in there gets turned over 2 to 3 times throughout a year. So like right now I'm growing lettuce, and then at the lettuce and kale and some other early greens. And then later on, it'll turn over to tomatoes or watermelon or hot peppers. And then later in the year, as those summer crops fade out, it'll turn into early winter crops. I used to go right up until October, and I used to start in May because I would do tents like that, like I have out in the garden. I do like a man-made hoop house. So, but now it's been extended the whole year, and that's what's unique about it, is like without the greenhouse I wouldn't be able to do that. That's where it's been a total benefit to me. Customer service has been great. The purchasing was easy. Greg at that time took care of me quite well. And anytime I call there, people are responsive, and like, you know. If you need some answers, they'll help you out as best they can. I would say always when you're building your greenhouse, try to orient it like east to west or west to east, like, you know what I mean, so that your sun is full, right? Shade cloth is important in order to reduce in the summertime to reduce that heat. Mulching is very, very, very important. And watering. I have irrigation inside the greenhouse that I hook up to, you know, in order to get the most out of it and put the water where I want it. And I do have raised beds, so like I feel that raised beds you can't go wrong with them. I think it's that point of being a little bit of self-sufficiency, like with recent events that's happened in the world, and shortages, price increases. I feel that, like, you know, like we as people have to take back a little bit of our old ancestral stuff and start being responsible for taking care of it. meaning to grow some of our own food. Not only that, for our health, nutrition. At least then you know what's being going into your food. You know what you're putting into your food and what you're consuming in that way. So, and I don't think anybody can replace healthy nutrition, right? And being that, you know, like I do have a disability and stuff like that, I've noticed a lot with the things that I eat, right? And what they do for me from the point of being healthy. Grow your own food. It's easy. If you got the room and you got the space, you should be growing your own food. Like I've got the Sungrow, and from what I've seen on the website, now they've come out with a few other different models that they have available. I think they're well constructed greenhouse, well worth the money, and you know, if you're in it for the long haul, you're gonna get your money back out of them. You know what I mean? And they're solid. So like, you know, the frame is all steel inside, and believe me, they can take the wind, they can take the snow, and that's what we need for where we are. Or even if you're further north, I would have no problem putting up a greenhouse in Northwest Territory, a Planta greenhouse in Northwest Territory, from what I've seen here. My name is Glen Reaume. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and if you have any questions, give the guys at Planta a call, because they'd be more than glad to answer any questions that you have. Thank you for spending the time with me, and good luck in the garden.